Hey there and welcome over here. Today I'm going to be showing you some crockpot breakfast ideas. If you didn't know yet, you could definitely make breakfast in the crockpot. It is super easy and simple. I especially like it when I have to go to like a large gathering or a party. I could just bring my entire crockpot with me and bring that breakfast. But anyways, I hope you all enjoy these crockpot recipes. I am going to be throwing a bunch of different crockpot recipes at you this fall just because fall is crockpot season and it's just an excuse for me to pull out my crockpot and make a bunch of meals. But I hope you guys are all doing well and enjoy all of these breakfasts. And if you are new here, I would love to have you over at my channel, so go ahead and subscribe down below the video. But let's get cooking. To get us started off, I wanted to begin with a sweet treat, so we're going to be making some monkey bread. I have 2 cans of Grand cinnamon rolls right here, and I'm just going to pop them open and take all of the little cinnamon rolls out of the center. Now that we have our cinnamon rolls right here, I'm just going to begin to cut them up with my knife. I'm pretty much cutting them into 4s each cinnamon roll, but you could cut them bigger or smaller, just whatever your preference is, but this is my favorite way to do it for this recipe. To this gallon-sized Ziploc bag, I'm just adding 1/4 cup of some normal sugar along with a teaspoon of some cinnamon, and then I'm going to be adding our cinnamon roll pieces right in there, and then I'm just going to shake everything together. You pretty much want all of your cinnamon roll pieces coated in that yummy cinnamon and sugar. Right before I dump everything into the crock pot, I'm going to be working on our butter and brown sugar mixture. All this is 1/2 cup of some melted butter along with 1/2 cup of brown sugar. I just mixed that together. So now into my crock pot, I'm just spraying it with some nonstick spray. You definitely want to spray it with the nonstick spray or use a crock pot liner. So now I'm just dumping in 1/2 of our bag of the cinnamon roll pieces. Now I'm going to be adding 1/2 of our butter and brown sugar mixture right there. And then on top of that, I'm going to be adding the last of our cinnamon roll pieces. And then directly on top of that, we're going to be adding the last of our butter and brown sugar. And then I'm going to put this on high for about 2 hours. You definitely want to start checking it at the 1 hour mark because all of the sugars in this recipe can burn to the crock pot. So just keep an eye on it. So now I'm just drizzling some of the frosting that came with the cinnamon rolls right on top there, and this came out really super delicious. We really did love this one, and I really do recommend this recipe. It's definitely a fun one. Now we're going to be making a really hearty breakfast casserole. So to begin, I have 1 pound of some sausage right here. I'm going to begin to cook up in my saucepan along with 1 onion. If you want to make 1/2 pound of sausage and 1/2 pound of bacon, you could definitely do that, but you pretty much want 1 pound of meat altogether. So now I'm going to begin to cook this up. While our sausage is cooking, I'm going to start on the egg. So I'm just cracking 12 eggs into this medium-sized bowl. To our 12 eggs, we're going to be adding 1 cup of some whole milk along with about 1/2 cup of some sour cream and a little bit of some salt and pepper. Just use however much salt and pepper you like. Then you're just going to whisk this up until it begins to be smooth. I just sprayed our crock pot with a little bit of some nonstick spray, and now I'm just adding about a pound of some of these frozen hash browns to it along with our breakfast sausage. I forgot to mention you could also add bell peppers to this breakfast sausage or any other veggies you like in your casseroles. I just used onions on that day because that's just what I had on hand. And now I'm just going to be adding about half a cup of some mild cheese right on top there, and then I'm pouring our egg on top, and then I'm just going to be putting this on low for about 6 to 8 hours. We actually had this going while we were sleeping at night. Here's our breakfast casserole the next morning. This came out super good. I do want to mention you probably don't want to cook this for over 8 hours because the egg will overcook. So just make sure you cook it at the maximum of 8 hours. But this really did turn out delicious. My husband liked his with a bunch of hot sauce, but this is a great meal. I thought it would be fun to show you how I make my breakfast potatoes in the crock pot. This is another super easy recipe, and this is great for holidays that are coming up or any occasion like that. So I'm just going to begin by chopping up our 3 pounds of red potatoes into smaller pieces. You could also use golden potatoes if that's what you prefer. I'm also going to be chopping up 1 onion into smaller pieces. The onion's going to add so much flavor to these potatoes while it's cooking. Also, if you're a bell pepper fan, you could add a couple bell peppers into this and that would be super yummy, but our favorite way of making this is just with 1 simple onion. Now we're going to work on our seasoning mixture. I love these seasonings for potatoes, so it's just 1 1/4 teaspoons of paprika, 1 1/4 teaspoons of dried oregano, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. This is optional, but you could add 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne. I didn't want to add the cayenne because I didn't want it spicy, but you're also going to be adding a pinch of nutmeg and a little bit of some salt and pepper to taste. Then I just mix this up. Over here to my crock pot, I'm just spraying it again with some of this nonstick spray, and then I'm going to be dumping our red potatoes right in there, and then on top of the red potatoes, you're just going to be adding your seasoning. Now I'm just adding our 1/4 cup of melted butter along with our diced up onion. I just cooked this on low for about 6 to 8 hours or until these potatoes got fork tender. You can cook it on high, but I really do prefer the way these potatoes come out on low. Low and slow is the best for these potatoes in my opinion, but here they are all cooked up and completely fork tender. Let me just tell you how simple this recipe is. These potatoes come out really good. If you're into meal prepping, you can make these potatoes and then throw them in breakfast burritos or breakfast bowls. You name it, you could do it with these potatoes. We really enjoy them. My husband just eats them alone. They are that good. Everybody loves a good old bowl of oatmeal in the morning, so now I'm going to be showing you my favorite way to make some oatmeal in the crock pot. So I just have my old-fashioned oats right here. I'm just adding 2 cups into my crock pot. You do want to make sure you spray your crock pot with non-stick spray, of course. And then after I added those 2 cups, I'm going to be adding our 3 cups of whole milk. You could seriously add anything in oatmeal and I feel like it would be good, but just add whatever toppings you like in your oatmeal. I added 2 diced up bananas along with 1.5 cups of some frozen blackberries, but fresh strawberries would be good. Seriously, like I said before, just add whatever you like. I also added 1/4 cup of brown sugar just for some extra sweetness, and about a teaspoon of some cinnamon and a pinch of salt. You could also add some maple syrup if you like that. I just gave this a good stir, and then I cooked this on high for about 45 minutes to 2 hours. So I cook mine on the closer end to 2 hours, but that's because I like my oatmeal a little bit thicker. But if you don't like your oatmeal as thick like this, just cook it on the 45-minute mark to hour mark. But this came out really good. I just topped it with some raisins, and we ate this for breakfast for a couple days. It saved well in our fridge. And that is a wrap of all of these super simple dump and go crockpot breakfast. I hope you enjoyed it, and I have made some crockpot dump and go dinner ideas, so I will put those videos linked in my description box below if you want to check them out. But I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe and healthy, and of course I would love to have you at my channel, so go ahead and subscribe down below the video. But I will see you in Sunday's video. Bye for now.